Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Kyuubi granted Rinnegan to Naruto, at the age of 6, part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Naruto sat up in his bed once more. A glance at his clock revealed it to only be 6:30 in the morning. He summoned Akui once more to make him breakfast, and summoned back all of his clone commanders once more. He took a look at the 6 clones before him. Along with Hyasuke, Anju, Jake, Shika, and Lisa, a 6th clone, a girl, stood beside them. At the height of 5 feet, Kajeri was a stunning beauty, a perfectly heart-shaped face, nice legs, DD-cupped breasts, and a nice plum pass. In her left pouch, Naruto saw several throwing knives, her weapon of assassination, sticking out. On her right hip, a small dagger lay concealed underneath her arm. She wore a blue, long-sleeved shirt with the word sexy in between her cleavage, and, shockingly, black skinny jeans that showed off her ass. Naruto also knew that she had several smoke bombs, as well as a hidden poison blade on her. Hyasuke, meet on the Hokage monument to practice the strong fist style, and learn how to effectively counter the gentle fist, in the case that I fight a Hyuga. Hyasuke nodded, and disappeared in a small tornado. Anju, Jake, Forest of Death, S-Class Sector. The 2 clone commanders glanced at each other. It was, after all, the first time that they would be in that portion of the forest. They then nodded, albeit a little hesitantly, and disappeared in twin flashes of lightning. Shika, the tactics division is on standby for now. Shika nodded, and puffed into smoke, retreating back into Naruto's mind. Lisa, torture and interrogation will practice on Kori Jody, a male I found trying to break into my apartment. Lisa nodded, and sank into the ground, having searched Naruto's memories to know where to find him. Kajeri, you have a special assassination today. Your targets are Naruto set before handing over the 2 pictures. If you want to go flashy, do so. Kajeri gave a silent nod before sinking into the shadows. After showering and eating, Naruto found out that he still had a whole hour and a half before the Academy's team selection actually began. Shadow Realm, Kyuubi asked with glee. Shadow Realm. Naruto replied while stepping into a shadow portal. Naruto landed on his feet feeling the familiar black sand of the world. He looked around to see where he had landed, to find that he was in front of his castle. I should pump up the security, Naruto said. You really should. Kyuubi stated, waking up beside him in human form. Naruto had learned long ago that the Shadow Realm only admitted 1 being per body. As the Kyuubi was trapped within Naruto with the strongest seal known to man, neither had imagined that the Shadow Realm's creator, Shino Kage, Shadow of Death, would actually have the power to separate them upon entrance to the Realm of Shadows. Kyuubi had to make a body every time they entered the realm, which is why he was excited, because in his mind, he could barely stretch his legs, much less destroy or kill something every once in a while. In the Shadow Realm, it would be impossible not to destroy or kill something. True to Naruto's thoughts, a 30-foot Cyclops with a 10-foot-long spiked club appeared from the forest off to the south. Behind him, several thousand wolves followed him at his heels. They were midnight black, with glowing red eyes, and slobbering mouths hanging open, ready to devour their prey. A 30-foot-tall Cyclops, and 10,000 bestial wolves. I'd say that you'd need my help, Kakashi of the Sharingan, the Yellow Flash, and the Sannin to defeat them all. Kyuubi listed. Naruto shrugged. Nah, I know who's going to help. And with that, Shino, Kiba, Hinata, Choji, and Shikamaru were all deposited on the floor. What the fuck? Shino screamed in a demonic voice. Naruto could see he wasn't much of a morning person. Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? Shikamaru trailed off, having noticed the beasts coming at them. All the others followed his gaze, and saw the thousands upon thousands of wolves charging at them, and the giant Cyclops. Yeah, remember when I said I'd show you a special place? This is the Shadow Realm, where evil monsters exist solely to kill you. Now, I'd suggest you get moving. You're all at level 1 in the Shadow Realm, and to advance you need to kill these demons. A wolf is worth 50 experience points, a 30-foot Cyclops is about 200 points. Each experience point makes you a little bit stronger, faster, smarter, better. A whole new level can double your strength, really. Everyone's eyes widened. How high are you? Kiba asked. Oh, level 72. Naruto said. And with that being said, his whole army appeared behind him, as well. Charge! Kyuubi screamed, as he, the clones, Naruto, and his friends all dived headlong into the battle. Kyuubi went off to slaughter some wolves that dared challenge him, while the clones crashed into the wolves, as well. Electricity, fire, water, chunks of earth, swords, knives, and bodies were thrown through the air at a rapid pace. Shino and Hinata ended up separated from the rest of the gang. The other 4 charged the giant Cyclops. Kyuubi swatted another wolf away from his face with one of his tails, and snapped a second's neck. A third and a 4th pounced, as well, but their heads slammed against each other, and their skulls shattered. The bodies were thrown into the masses of wolves that ringed him. A 5th one tried to get the jump on him from behind, but it soon found itself without a head. The 6th and 7th found themselves impaled on Kyuubi's claws. Another 3 wolves ran in, and actually hit Kyuubi in the chest, making him fall over. They quickly swarmed the demon, dogpiling him in the hopes that he wouldn't get up. For a moment, the Kyuubi disappeared from view. Then, as if a dam had busted open, red chakra beamed into the sky. The wolves were blasted back, and the unluckiest of them all were obliterated by the volatile red chakra. As the wolves regrouped, they stared into the face of the true form of the Kyuubi. Hyasuke whirled into the battle, slamming wolves out of the way left and right. One wolf that came at him received a blow to the head so hard that it instantly died. Another wolf charged, and found his throat slit. A third and fourth tried to do a high-low combo on him, but Hyasuke easily dispatched them. "Leaf whirlwind," he said after slipping into the strong fist stance. He leaped over the low wolf and kicked the high wolf in the neck, easily breaking it. He then redirected himself and launched a kunai near the wolf which he had jumped over. Pulling on the ninja wire he had attached to the kunai, he came back down with a flying kick to the face. Dynamic entry. The wolf's face and skull caved in as Hyasuke's foot crash impacted it. It skidded away, back into the crowd of wolves. He ducked and kicked another wolf in the ribs, sending it skyrocketing. He then jumped as 4 other wolves pounced his previous spot. Anju drew her 2 tanto blades and impaled both of them in both sides of a wolf's head. She swung the blades around and slammed the corpse into 3 others. She withdrew the 2 and sliced one wolf in half, while stabbing one that had pounced her in the heart. She dodged under an attack and jumped as she heard Jake finish his hand signs. Demon skill. Hell flames. Jake said, as a stream of flames spouted from his hands. The white flames burned over 100 wolves and created a firewall over 20 feet tall, separating about another 400 from the battle. The ones on fire instantly turned into ash. Strangely enough, the white flames then began to move on to the next target. Jake turned after hearing a roar behind him, but it was too late. A wolf was coming down, ready to tear his throat out. 3 throwing knives impaled the side of the wolf's head, pinning the dead corpse to a withered black tree. Jake sighed in relief and pointed a thumb up to Kajiri, who merely nodded before slicing one wolf's throat and kicking another into 2 more. Shino and Hinata stood back to back, circled by 10 wolves who they could swear were laughing at them. They were, after all, only on level 1. The wolves probably believed that they were of no threat and could easily be taken down. They probably also smelt Hinata's fear, and though Shino didn't show it, they smelt his as well. One launched itself at Shino, who quickly drew a kunai and sliced its head off. As violet blood rained upon him, however, something strange happened. The world around Shino froze. The wolves stopped circling, Hinata stopped shaking, the clones stopped battling, and his friends stopped moving. He glanced around before realizing that he was still moving. Then, as if it were nothing but a game, several words appeared in the air. Congratulations. Upgrade to level 2. Gained 10 XP. Rewards. +5 stamina, +5 strength, +5 intelligence, +10 bloodline ability. New jutsu. Ninja art. Poison fog. Next level. LVL. 3 need 20 more XP. Shino looked on as the upgrade swirled before hitting him in the chest. Strangely enough, they sunk into his chest, as opposed to knocking him over. He felt himself get energized, stronger, smarter, and also noted that his colony grew bigger by what he estimated, 10%. He also felt the knowledge of a new imprint itself in his mind. He expected it to stop, but instead it continued. Congratulations. Upgrade to level 3. Gained 20 XP. Rewards. +3 chakra, +10 health, +5 strength, +10 bloodline ability. New bloodline ability. Multiple hosts 1. Description. An Abiram who gets to this level can now have multiple bugs within him. Each new update of this ability increases the amount of types of bugs you can hold. Current amount. 3. New bugs. Wasps. New bugs. Flying spiders. Silk spiders. Description. Flying spiders are mutant spiders that were crossbred with flies. There are several types of this species, which can be unlocked with later upgrades. These spiders produce silk very quickly. The silk is infused with chakra, making it tougher than the regular ninja wire. This silk can be used to make lightweight armor, or to wrap up and subdue an enemy. Next level. LVL. 4 need 50 more XP. Current status. 30 out of 80 XP. Shino then noticed several options listed before him. Continue. Stats. Save status. Speak commands. Curious, Shino said speak commands, only for nothing to happen. Then he realized that it was actually telling him to speak his command. Save status. Shino questioned. A floating version of him appeared in midair, looking down at him, as black masses floated around him. A bar floated above the illusion. Status saved. Whenever you die in the Shadow Realm, you will appear in the real world on whatever level you are on. The illusion was then covered with a black mass, which dissolved into nothingness. Shino felt a grin on his face so wide that it wasn't even fit for an Abiram. Stats. He said more confidently. A full body image of him appeared, as well as personal info and stats. Name. Shino Abiram. Age. 12. Height. 5'4". Weight. 152 pounds. Stats. Strength. 30. Health. 40. Intelligence. 75. Stamina. 45. Chakra. 47. Bloodline ability. 60. Ninjutsu amount. 5. Taijutsu. 35. Genjutsu. 35. Tactics. 50. Luck. 40. Charisma. 30. Speed. 35. Agility. 30. Current level. Mid to high genin. Shino nodded and vowed that he would work on his taijutsu and learn more. Apparently, after reading over what could get him experience, onto the list went several things, which included training. 5 strength XP per 6 hours, 3 stamina XP per 4 hours, 5 taijutsu XP per 8 hours, 1 ninjutsu per 24 hours, 5 genjutsu XP per 12 hours, 2 bloodline ability XP per 72 hours, 5 health XP per every week, studying, 5 intelligence per 2 hours, 5 health XP per every 5 days, doing D rank missions, 1 XP for category of your choosing, doing C rank missions, 2 XP for category of your choosing, doing B rank missions, 5 XP for category of your choosing, doing A rank missions, 10 XP for category of your choosing, doing S rank missions, 20 XP for category of your choosing. Various other things also gave him XP, but Shino didn't really focus on them. Also, there was a note that told him that unforeseen situations may give him the opportunity to gain additional XP. Continue, Shino finally said. He nailed another wolf in the head with the kunai, sending him to level 4, and grabbed hold of a pouncing wolf by its neck before snapping it. 2 more attacked him, but he smashed their heads together and impaled them on a tree branch, boosting him up to level 5. He waited for more to come, but they never did. Kanata struck 1 wolf in the heart and twirled as another jumped by. She palmed a 2nd in the heart as well, then hit a 3rd in the head, and a 4th in the heart as well. She then struck several arteries and veins on the final wolf's neck, effectively ending the wolf's life. Kiba, Shikamaru, Chaoji, and Naruto ran up to meet the Cyclops, who bellowed. You really think that you 4 puny humans will actually be able to hurt me, much less kill me? Bah. He chuckled before swiping at them with his club. Each ninja jumped up and over the attack before landing in various spots. Expansion Choji said, as he easily turned into a 30-foot giant himself. He raised a humongous fist and smashed the Cyclops in the head. What? It screamed as it lost its balance. Ninja art. Shadow stitching jutsu. Shikamaru said from underneath a tree. He grinned as he sat in the shadow realm and watched his shadow go to work. As a Nara who used shadow, being in a world where shadows existed everywhere made him exponentially more powerful than anyone else. His shadow weaved in and out of the shadows of random objects, trees, walls, wolves, and clones, until they reached the Cyclops. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of shadow needles suddenly branched from the main shadow and impaled the beast all at once. It gave a mighty roar, its voice full of pain and agony, as its body dripped golden blood. It smacked Choji down, knocking the boy over. He then tried to bash Choji's head in with the club, but 2 identical drills to the eyes stopped him. Tunneling Fang. Kiba screamed, as he and Akamaru turned. Kiba drilled into the scene and hit the mighty warrior in its lone eye. The Cyclops bellowed once more, both in pain and frustration. It had been punched in the face with what felt like a 2-ton truck moving over 100 miles an hour, impaled repeatedly through the stomach and torso, and had its eye drilled at. How could he, a mighty Cyclops warrior, be injured by such weaklings? The mere thought of being defeated by this group of meager humans angered him to a whole different level. Shikamaru, Kiba, and Choji watched in horror as the Cyclops went on a rampage, smashing things left and right, and creating earthquakes with his forceful feet. The boys were all lucky to have saved their data, as Choji was hit upside the head with a club. Kiba was smacked and sent sailing through the air before landing in a river of poisonous liquid that resided nearby. The tree Shikamaru had been sitting under fell over and crushed him. All 3 boys dissolved into a white pile of ash before it blew away into the storm in the sky. The Cyclops finally was able to see again, and looked down to see Naruto standing fearlessly before him. Ahahaha. The deranged being roared with laughter befitting of a mad scientist. Naruto curled an eyebrow. I came for a battle, not to watch some ugly shit to laugh all day. Naruto started with a swift drop. In response, 3 trees smashed into his previous location. Unfortunately for the Cyclops, Naruto had jumped back and away from the impact zone. Demon skill. Kagutsuchi's revenge. Naruto screamed as a fireball of white, black, and blue fire flew at the beast. This technique was granted to him, just like all other demon skills, thanks to Kyuubi. The myth of Kagutsuchi, the fire god, was that his birth caused the death of his mother, Izanami. To press over her death, Kagutsuchi's father, Izanagi, beheaded Kagutsuchi and cut the remaining body into 8 pieces. It was aptly named Kagutsuchi's Revenge because when the Nibi no Nekomata had fought against Izanagi some 3,000 years ago, she used this and managed to actually cause a wound. Hence, she named it Kagutsuchi's Revenge in honor of the god of fire. The fireball seemed to wail as it flew through the air, and with the explosion equivalent to 3 nuclear bombs, it detonated as it made contact with the great beast. A giant tower of fire reached into the sky, splitting the storm clouds and revealing a blue moon. In the center of the tower, the Cyclops roared in unfathomable pain, as some of the hottest flames of hell burned him to a crisp. Kagasuchi's revenge, when fully powered, could burn longer than a Materasu, and was about 4,000 degrees hotter. The hell flames were a little under Materasu, as the goddess had only bestowed that gift upon the Uchiha, and try as they might, no one else could replicate it. Naruto's version of Kagasuchi's revenge was slightly above Amaterasu. It could burn for 5 days, but was 300 degrees hotter. Shino and Hinata stopped panting, and what they were doing, as did Kyuubi, and all the remaining wolves to witness the violent explosion, and the resulting flame tower. All of them, even the wolves and Kyuubi, gaped like a fish out of water, as it reached upwards, and into the heavens, possibly above. It stayed that way for a minute before it died down, revealing a much burned Cyclops laying in the center of a 15-foot wide, and 40-foot deep crater. With very low growls, the remaining wolves, only about 300 in number massively thanks to the clone army Naruto summoned, fled from the battle, accepting defeat, but not liking it. As Shino sent his new wasp colony, and a few flying spiders to kill off some more, and possibly bring 1 or 2 back for studying, he realized that they would most likely be back sooner than later. And he would gladly go through it all again if it meant that he would get as strong as he did. Kiba, Shikamaru, and Choji were only up to level 7 for killing several wolves, and injuring the Cyclops. Shino and Hinata were up to level 10 already with all the killing that they had done. As the remaining clones dispelled, Kyuubi, Shino, and Hinata trekked up to where Naruto was standing, at the very edge of the crater. They followed his line of sight to the abomination that was the Cyclops. It was still breathing, though unable to move, and do anything more than to breathe, and talk. How? It managed to gasp out. Naruto smirked. Size doesn't mean power, Naruto said. He was about to finish him, but Kyuubi stopped him. What are you doing? Naruto questioned. Kyuubi grinned, and turned back into his full fox form. I haven't had a good meal in ages. Kyuubi trailed off. Naruto and the others turned away, as the screams of the Cyclops, and the laughter of the Kitsune, sounded for a second before the screams died out. They turned back to see Kyuubi looking at them with a grin. Crispy, Kyuubi said. With that, Naruto forcibly removed everyone from the dimension. They tumbled out to land upon a just recently recovering Choji, Shikamaru, and Kiba. All 6 mumbled and groaned, as they detached their limbs from the others. At last, after a minute or so, they regrouped. What was that? Kiba asked. Like I said, it was the Shadow Realm. The castle was my fort, those which we just battled against are some of my enemies. I trained there to increase in strength rapidly. Even you all have to admit that you feel stronger, faster, smarter, and just downright better just from killing those few wolves, and fighting the Cyclops. That's because the Shadow Realm treats all its inhabitants like a video game character. You gain battle experience for killing an enemy. You gain enough, and it rewards you with strength, speed, intelligence, luck, and so on, and so forth. The Shadow Realm is divided into several stages: home base, forest, mountains, desert, ocean, cloud 9, the 9 circles of hell, and the factory. Home base was a large area of land, 1900 acres of land, all for my intents and purposes. The forest, mountains, desert, and ocean comprises the earth that separates my home base from their home base. After crossing the ocean, I enter a portal that sends me into a challenge, the 9 circles of hell, where I face 9 demons of varying levels, and then the tailed beast, such as the Chibi at level 10, the Nibi at level 20, and so on, and so forth. After you defeat the Kyuubi, you can make it to Cloud 9, where it's the same thing except with angels and gods. If you can make it past that, then you face off against the greatest monsters the factory, the enemy's base, can create. If you can take over their base, then you can win the game, and it restarts exponentially harder. The only reason I'm at level 72 is because I took a shitload of my inventions, a ton of my clones, a whole army of clones of the 4th Hokage into battle, a crapload of summons, and I abused my Rinnegan, and made it all the way through. After that, Cloud 9, and the 9 circles of hell were added. Heck, after that whole ordeal, I was out for nearly a month in Shadow Realm terms, which was basically that week I was absent. Naruto explained. Everyone's jaws dropped. Was this kid fucking serious? Shino was the first to break out of his stupor. Well, next time, call me, and I'll help you. Hell, we may even advance some. The black-haired Aburum said, shocking all at the fact that he spoke, as long as he did, was as excited as he was using such language, and was willing to head back in. Naruto chuckled. Shino, you must be seriously fucked up. Shino shook his head vigorously. No, I'm not fucked up. But I'm high on a power rush. Can't you feel it? How strong have you gotten? My taijutsu is almost double what it used to be. I've picked up a new ninjutsu. I've gotten smarter, faster, healthier, more energetic. My hive has gotten larger. I have more chakra, and I have 2 new hives of insects. And that was barely an hour in the real world, he said. Now that he mentioned it, everyone else started to realize it as well. Hey, yay. Kiba agreed. I got smarter, faster, stronger, healthier, luckier, learned anew, as well, my chakra has gone up, my sense of smell has increased even further, and I can communicate with wolves now, since for all intents and purposes, they're just large dogs. Plus I can fight with 2 dogs now. Shikamaru nodded. Apparently I got faster, stronger, healthier, luckier, and more charismatic, my shadow can extend longer, I have better chakra control, and I know a new shadow dot. Hinata poked her fingers together. I got faster, healthier, stronger, smarter, more charismatic, my Byakugan can see further, and I can also see some new plus. I received a new one that will be perfect for fighting another Hyuga, she said. Naruto could already see that the charisma boost was taking place, because she didn't stutter or blush when looking at Naruto, though she couldn't maintain eye contact. Choji nodded as well. I got faster, healthier, smarter, more chakra, better chakra control, a new earth, and a new Akimichi. Naruto nodded. If you all were to help me conquer the Shadow Realm, we'd all get so much stronger that we'd leave someone like Sasuke team in the dust. All the others nodded, and looked at a nearby clock to see that it was 8:29. Guys? Kiba prompted. Naruto nodded. It's covered. A portal opened on the wall, and Naruto stepped in. Shrugging, Shikamaru went in, followed by Kiba, Hinata, Shino, and Choji. Iruka sighed, as he looked at the class for the very last time. They had their share of bad times, but he could confidently say that this class was his favorite. Though I could go without Naruto being late all the time. Heck, now 6 of them are late. Iruka mused, as the class talked amongst one another. To his surprise, and everyone else's shock, the gateway opened on the way, followed by Naruto stepping out. Behind him, Shikamaru, Kiba, Hinata, Shino, and Choji all fell out, as well. The last 5 shuddered, and groaned at the apparently unpleasant sensation, while Naruto looked at them with a smirk. Iruka asked him, but then decided against it. Every ninja had their secrets, after all. He watched and waited, as the 6 retreated up to the final 2 desks in the room. Shino, Naruto, and Hinata sat at one table, while Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru sat at the table next to them. Teach me how to do that, dope. Sasuke demanded once again. Impossible, Sasuke. Only those with a shadow alignment can do it. Shikamaru, Shino, Choji, Kiba, Hinata, and I all have it, well you don't. In fact, the only other one who could hope to do it is Iruka-sensei, actually. Would you like to learn it? Naruto stated, and then asked his teacher. He nodded. It looks way cooler than a regular shunshin. He commented. Naruto nodded. It moves way faster, as well. Sasuke growled, which in turn made Naruto chuckle. Alright class, listen up. This will be our last time, as a class together. I'm going to tell you that the path to being a ninja is not going to be easy, and that you might even die in your line of duty. This caused several people to blanch. Iruka only grinned. But, I believe that you all will rise to be the greatest group of ninjas that this world has ever seen. All the genin nodded with a small smile, except for Sasuke. The scar then proceeded to unravel a scroll. Alright, Team 1 is, and so it went on, until at last, Naruto heard his name. Team 7 consists of Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Your sensei is Kakashi Haddock. At that, Naruto nodded, and looked at the 2 sitting next to him with a smile before raising an eyebrow. Meanwhile, Shino gasped. Our sensei is the Kakashi Haddock? He asked. Iruka nodded, while Sasuke scoffed. What's so special about this no-name? He asked. Naruto leveled a glare at him. Kakashi Haddock, son of the White Fang of Konoha, and world-renowned Leaf Ninja. Also known as Copy Ninja Kakashi or Kakashi of the Sharingan, Kakashi graduated from the academy at the age of 5, and was by 6. At 13, he was already a dot in the 4th grade Shinobi War. He gained the Sharingan from his friend, Obito Uchiha, and after that, became known for mastery of over 1,000 dot. He was the student of the Yondaime Hokage, and was the head of the Anbu for several years. He is an A-class ninja worth 50 million Ryo by Kumo, and Iwa. Naruto stated. Sasuke growled. So why do they get this Kakashi guy, and not me? I'm an Uchiha, he has Sharingan, and he can teach me. Why do the no-named idiots get him? Iruka glared at him, as well. Sasuke, just because you are an Uchiha does not make you better than everyone else. These 3 are not no-named idiots. Shino and Hinata are heirs to the Aburame and Hyuga clans, and Naruto is one of the most talented kids I've ever seen. As for why they got him, from what I understand, you haven't unlocked your Sharingan, so you don't need him yet. Hinata's Byakugan, Shino's Kakashi's squad, and Naruto's wolves make up a great tracking squad. Team 8 is Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Yamanaka, and Sakura Haruno, led by Kurenai Yuhi. Sasuke, the Sharingan is Mainlia, and Kurenai is the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha, so that is why you're on her team. As Iruka finished explaining, twin shouts of true love conquers all. And several groans, including that of Sasuke, were heard. Iruka shook his head, and continued. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, and Team 10 is Kiba Inuzuka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi, led by Asuma Sarutobi. You are to wait here for your senses. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, Sarutobi shook his head, and rubbed his temples. The council was bitching over the team formations, and the sensei was standing in front of him, also questioning the decision. Shut the fuck up. Sarutobi finally snapped, causing several people to look at him, and all to silence themselves. The Hokage never cursed, and when he did, it meant that he was seriously and utterly pissed. One at a time, he said. Danzo started the conversation off. Hokage-sama, please explain why the teams are this way. He asked. Team 7 consists of Shino Aburum, Hinata Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki, but Kakashi had it leading them because they are to be both the tracker and ninjutsu squad. With Shino's Hinata's Byakugan, Kakashi's pack, and Naruto's wolf summoning, they will make a better tracker squad than say, Kiba instead of Naruto, since wolves have a greater sense of smell. All three also absorb ninjutsu very quickly, and with Naruto's Rinnegan, he'll need a lot of ninjutsu. Shino relies on him too much, as does Hinata with the gentle fist. They will need ninjutsu to back them up as well. Team 8 is Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Yamanaka, and Sakura Haruno, led by Kurenai Yuhi. Kurenai is an astounding user, and, as one of the Sharingan's main abilities is to cast Unbreakable, she makes a perfect fit. Kurenai was also a fangirl in her younger days, so she can break Sakura's and Ino's current minset, and build them into competent ninja. Also, both have excellent chakra control, and, as Kurenai does have some form of medical training, we can patch them into medical ninjas if given enough time. Team 10 is Kiba Inizuka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi, led by Asuma Sarutobi. Kiba is fast, Choji is strong, Shikamaru is intelligent, and Asuma is all three. Combined, this makes a very well-rounded team. Shikamaru has techniques to restrain, while Kiba and Choji have techniques to batter and beat down an opponent. Sarutobi explained. Homura spoke about his concerns. But Hiruzen, Sasuke should be on Kakashi's team with Aburum and Hyuga. He will need training in the Sharingan, which he hasn't activated yet. Kakashi cut in. There's no point in me training an Uchiha how to use the Sharingan when he can't use it. It's a moot point. Besides, the Rinnegan and Sharingan can go hand in hand if used properly. I'd rather teach Naruto over Sasuke anyway. Hokage-sama, I propose that the Uchiha take the Hyuga heiress as his wife. That way a random merchant of the civilian council began. Nope. I will not let my daughter get married to him, as the Hyugas and Uchihas were always on bad terms. Besides, if you're trying to create an ultimate, it's been proven that the offspring of an Uchiha and a Hyuga will always take on a Sharingan or Byakugan, never both. Hiashi briskly cut off that suggestion. Anything else? Sarutobi asked. Do I really have to work with the Uchiha? Kurenai pleaded. Sarutobi nodded, which caused her head to hang. Council adjourned. Kurenai, Asuma, Kakashi, I suggest that you pick up your teams now. Asuma and Kurenai nodded, but Kakashi waved the suggestion off. I've still got at least 3 more hours. Sarutobi's sweat dropped, but it was wiped away, as Kakashi snapped his book shut. Noticing that they were the only two in the room, Kakashi began in his Anbu commander voice. Hokage-sama, I'd like to speak to you in private. In other words, Kakashi was requesting that the security and silencing seals were activated. Sarutobi frowned, but did so anyway. What is it, Kakashi? He asked. Kakashi glanced around, and then told the Hokage of his worries. Hokage-sama, what if the council gives Sasuke a mission to impregnate the women he wants, so he can revive his clan? Sarutobi's eyes narrowed. Let them. I know that the young Uchiha only likes strong people, so he'll go after those he deems strong enough. But they should be strong enough to hold their own against him. Kakashi nodded, and disappeared. Homura and Koharu walked briskly throughout the village, talking along the way of village concerns and matters. Lunch? Koharu prompted, as they entered a Chiraku ramen. Homura nodded, as they got into the table for two. Homura, what do you make of the team decisions? Koharu asked. Before he could give his answer, a waiter walked up to them. What would you two like today? She asked. A medium bowl of vegetable ramen, please. Koharu stated. A medium bowl of ginger carrot soup, please. Homura ordered. The waitress nodded, and walked up to another cook, who took the order, and disappeared inside the kitchen. I think the Hiruzen truly messed up the team's decisions. The Uchiha deserves to be on Kakashi's team, not the demon child. Instead, he ends up with 2 useless fangirls. Homura answered Koharu's previous question. Not quite. I hear the Yamanaka don't actually like the Uchiha. Koharu said, as their food arrived. Koharu took a sip of the broth, as Homura took a spoonful of soup into his mouth. Really now? Homura asked. Koharu nodded. She acts like a useless fangirl, apparently to fool everyone, so that they underestimate her. Of course, she needed someone to admire, which turned out to be the Uchiha. Homura raised an eyebrow. Well then, I guess it's only one useless fangirl. Koharu nodded again, as she took in some vegetables. But Sasuke needs to revive his clan. We should give him a special mission from the council to get several wives, as soon as possible. Koharu said. Homura nodded. They have to be strong, of course. Do you have any in mind? Koharu nodded once more. Yamanaka, Kurenai, the Hyuga girl, the snake whore, and a few others. Homura wrote them down, and passed it on to a fellow councilman that had walked by. As they finished their meal, however, both clutched their hearts. What's happening?" Kaharu asked, as she felt a severe pain. She glanced at Hamura to find that he had already collapsed. She, too, fell face first into her ramen. As the people screamed over the two elders, a brown-haired cook watched with a glint in her eyes before puffing into smoke. In the academy, Naruto grinned as he received the memory from Kajiri. Her mission to assassinate Kaharu and Hamura went well, apparently. Those two were a thorn in Naruto's side for a long time. Guys, Kakashi won't be here for at least another 2 hours. He told his pacing teammates, who were the only other two in the room. Why not? Hinata asked. Naruto shrugged. It's one of his quirks. He always appears at least 3 hours late unless it is a direct order from the Hokage. If it is, then he'll be about half an hour late. Shino raised an eyebrow. And you know this, how? The bingo book does wonders, was Naruto's simple reply. 2 hours later, the door finally slid open to reveal a male with silver, gravity-defying hair. His mask covered most of his face, while his headband was slung over his left eye, leaving only his right eye visible. He carried a small orange book that he read from, and was leaning on his right foot so much that he was standing slanted, giving off the impression that he was very lackadaisical. Everyone's sweat dropped, Naruto doing so massively, at the way he presented himself. My first impression of you all is that you're slow, seeing as how I've been waiting on the roof for you for the past 3 hours. He said with a nice smile. Everyone's face faltered, with Naruto being the first to recover. Why didn't you tell us? He said angrily. Naruto, I trained you well enough to sense another ninja, didn't I? He asked in return. Anyway, meet on the roof in 5 minutes. With that, Kakashi disappeared. Naruto snorted and jumped out of the window. Shino and Hinata recovered and did the same. As soon as Kakashi leaned on the rail, Naruto, Shino, and Hinata all jumped up and landed sitting next to each other. He chuckled at both their speed and how they landed, as well as how close they seemed to be to each other. Alright, since we're just meeting each other, for the most part, he said before looking at the sun-kissed blonde, let's start introducing ourselves, name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams, etc. Shouldn't you go first, Kakashi-sensei? Hinata asked. Kakashi sighed. Fine. My name is Kakashi Haddock. He likes reading his smut and sleeping. He dislikes not being able to read his smut and doing anything that really requires effort besides fighting. His hobbies include reading his smut and taking care of his, and his dream, besides seeing his teammates once more, are to collect every Icha book and movie there is. Naruto finished with a snicker. Shino stared at Kakashi, while Hinata turned a very deep red. Kakashi chuckled nervously. Ha 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 Naruto, you're up first. Kakashi said. Naruto shrugged. Naruto Uzumaki, I like ramen, getting stronger, and my friends. I dislike bullies, rapists, and Sasuke. My hobbies are cooking, training, and reading, and my dream is to become Hokage. Naruto said in one breath. Kakashi nodded. Abiram, you're up next. My name is Shino Abiram. I like bugs, my friends, and training. I dislike people who kill bugs, bullies, rapists, and arrogant people. My hobbies are searching for new bugs, training, and hanging out with friends, and my dream is to become the Abiram clan head, and show the world why we belong in Konoha. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. For an Abiram, you sound like quite the social one. Shino shrugged. Meh. Kakashi shook his head, and looked expectantly at Hinata. My name is Hinata Hyuga. I like Naruto, my friends, and getting stronger. I dislike most of my clan, Sasuke, and fangirls. My hobbies include gardening, hanging out with friends, and reading, and my dream is to become Hyuga clan head, and merge the two branches. She said. Naruto looked at her in shock. Did you say that you like me? Naruto asked. Hinata's hand clasped over her mouth, and she turned red, before she shrugged. Oh well, it's out there now. She said. Kakashi noticed a small shift in Naruto's posture that headed towards her. He inwardly smirked. So I have a blonde who wishes to be Hokage, a social Abiram, and a warm Hyuga on my team. He started with a nice smile. His soon-to-be student smirked at him, as well. So guys, tomorrow, meet me at Training Ground 7 at 6 o'clock for your Genin test. Kakashi said. Before anyone could even question what he said, he continued by saying don't eat, you'll just puke anyway. With that, the scarecrow disappeared, leaving 3 stunned genin. Naruto broke out of his stupor first. So I'm going to show up at 9 o'clock having eaten breakfast. Right now, I'm going to get lunch at Ichiraku. You guys coming? He asked. The two looked at each other before following him towards the restaurant. In a nearby building, Kakashi smirked. They'll make a legendary team. And with that, the copy nin went off to join his friends. The Shadow Realm belongs to Devil K's writing. I'd like to thank him for allowing me to use his idea of the Shadow Realm. I may have changed it slightly, but it was his idea. Go and check out Black Flame's Dance in the Wind. Rise of Naruto. The story is just epic in both length and content. Naruto stood in the Shadow Realm with Shino and Hinata, giving them the grand tour. Kiba, Shikamaru, and Choji would have to get one later. Before he had started, he had created several guards outside his home base. Among them were giant praying mantises, several hundred light wolves, the counterpart to the beautiful wolves, a 30-foot-long spider scorpion, several hundred flying ninjas, a few hundred dragons with the Rinnegan, a huge row of Venus flight traps, 104th Hokage clones, 100 Kakashi Haddock clones, 100 Itachi Uchiha clones, 100 of his regular clones, and several thousands of his clones into random grains of sand, trees, and just about anything else. The 30-foot-long spider was a special creation of Naruto's. It had very hard scales that he couldn't even pierce, eyes that fired lasers, a huge mouth to chomp on objects, and spit either acid or nets to trap others, 2 poisonous tails, and monster strength. Oh yes, Naruto would definitely take them. The flying ninja was something Naruto just randomly thought of once. Wouldn't it be awesome for a ninja to fly around and launch everywhere, confident that there was a very small chance to get struck? Having thought that, he had the workers on the creation division make them. They were very helpful because they held an aerial advantage against ground units, and were versatile enough to fight other aerial enemies. The dragons were based off of Naruto's summoning contract with the species. As wielder of the Rinnegan, he could hold up to 10 summoning contracts, 1 for each finger. So far, he held the wolf, dog, dragon, crab, toad. Jiraiya had visited him once when he was 10, snake, thanks to Anko, he could summon the lesser snakes, and fox, thanks to Kyuubi, contracts. The first 4 were granted to him with the Rinnegan. He was still searching for 3 more that he might have wanted to use. The Venus flight traps were vastly different in the sense that they were much larger, and had tentacles to grapple objects with. They were large enough to actually eat an elephant, and the tentacles were spiked. They were, however, susceptible to fire-based attacks, so that was their only weakness. If you got within 10 feet of them, they would sense you, and eat you. After he had set the defenses around his home, he showed them the main mansion. It was 30 stories high, with 10 floors underground as well. The bottom floor was an arena where he could train and fight against what he wanted to. The arena always fixed itself afterwards, so he could go all out without worrying about the damage he was causing. The top 30 floors were places where he stored weapons, relaxed, ate, and so on, and so forth. After that, he showed them to the hospital. It was 3 floors high, and the main doctor was simply named Duck. He held all the antidotes to poisons, all the known poisons, and just about everything else. He also mixed poisons for Naruto. The hospital was used to extend the life of severely injured forces of Naruto. That way, he didn't have to keep making more forces. Third in the tour was his factory. The factory was filled with workers who basically formed an assembly line, building new types of forces for Naruto. When they arrived, they saw them finish making a 40-foot-long butterfly that others could ride on and fire from. It was like a plane with people firing out of it. Speaking of which, the workers had gotten really technical, and had invented stuff from so long ago. Naruto barely understood how a helicopter or machine gun worked, but he knew that both were effective. He had used one for transportation to a rather large battle, and with him were 2 clones, and several wolves. The clones had manned the machine gun, and had mowed down several enemies, while he and his wolves had leapt out of the helicopter into the awaiting chaos, and provided backup for his slowly dwindling forces. Once they had visited the factory, the 3 of them had moved onto the plains of the base. In the plains were several cows, horses, and the like. It reminded all of them of a farm, which it partially was. The other part of the fields that weren't occupied by the animals was used by mechanics that were repairing helicopters and other technological things. As the 3 of them sat inside of the mansion, enjoying a nice breakfast, they saw a clone barge back into the mansion. "Sir, an army of Cyclops, led by a 20-foot-long crow, is assaulting the base," he said breathlessly. Naruto frowned. "What happened to the Venus flight traps?" he asked. "They were able to take down some of the smaller Cyclops, but it is a rather large army. There are 500 of them. The crow is swooping in and creating havoc as well, ripping up the Venus flight traps and taking away wolves and clones. And the spider scorpion. It's busy facing off with the largest Cyclops," the clone reported. Naruto set down his tea and stood up, with Shino and Hinata standing with him. "Let's go," he said, running off to the factory with his teammates in tow. When they reached the factory, they quickly explained the situation to the workers. They then took the huge butterfly and flew away. Naruto had materialized several thousand Sunaking cobra snakes, as well as walking Venus flight traps large enough to eat 20-foot-tall Cyclops, and several hundred more wolves. Together, the large army flew to back up the rest of the forces. When they arrived, the snakes flew into action, biting at the Cyclops, and injecting them with poison. However, to the great annoyance of everyone, the poisonous snakes from the forest came in, and instantly started destroying Naruto's snakes. Not only that, but several large panthers also charged into the fray. Naruto cursed, and did hand signs, while Shino released all of his bugs, and Hinata jumped down to go help the army. "Fire style. Fireball jutsu," Naruto said, launching a fireball at the crow that had taken out 3 Itachis, and 4 fourth Hokages. The fireball connected with the wing of the crow, which caught, as it feebly tried to fly away, but couldn't due to its burned wing. A rather huge Venus flytrap. They got bigger based on how many enemies they ate, and the size of the enemies grabbed hold of the crow, and forcibly stuffed it down into his gut or whatever. Naruto drew a tanto he carried with him at all time, and flipped off of the butterfly, as it made a low swoop to let off a few wolves, and clones that had hitched a ride. He charged in, ready to kill some enemies, before several thousand trees came flying at both him, and a few of his clones that had followed him on his command. Cursing, he hopped back with his clones onto the departing butterfly, and instantly decided that he would use ninjutsu against the great beasts instead. Demon skill. Hell flames, he said, sticking his palms out. Twin streams of white fire flew out, and burned 3 giants, but continued fighting for a short while, before succumbing to the pain of the hellfire. Naruto moved on with his hand signs once more. Shadow Style. Shadow Spears, Naruto said. As the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, he held a shadow alignment which allowed him to use shadow such as the Shadow Portal, and Shadow Spears. Several pure black spears formed in the air, and speared several Cyclops, instantly killing them. Cyclops were weak against shadow attacks, and demon skills. Shadow Style. Imprisonment, he continued. The Shadow Spears, and other shadows nearby 5 Cyclops warped around them, containing them in a cage. Shadow Style. Shadow Virus, Naruto said, as small tendrils made of shadows sprouted from the cage, and hit each Cyclops directly in the middle of the forehead. Seconds later, their eyes went completely black, as the cage fell. The 5 Cyclops turned, and started assaulting their brethren. The Shadow Style. Imprisonment Shadow Virus combo was a favorite of Naruto. He would subdue an enemy, and then use his shadow virus to disturb the brain functions, and take it over, bending everything, and anything from animals to plants, humans to seals to his will. The shadow virus was helpful in the fact that he could force someone to speak valuable info, make them infiltrate their camp, and then kill their leader, or make them fight against their comrade. The better the mind an organism or thing had, however, the more concentration and time it would take to bend the object. The shadow imprisonment was unbreakable, only stopped by Naruto's will or stop page of chakra. Hinata, 3 Naruto clones, and a 4th Hokage, charge 1 Cyclops. The Cyclops swung his club at the squad of 5, dispelling 1 Naruto clone, and missing the others. The 4th Hokage hopped onto the club, and rode it up near the Cyclops' head before jumping at its face with a dual drone. He plunged them into his eye, and jumped off of the beast's nose, as it swatted at him in pain, anger, and indignation. The Hokage clone landed next to Hinata, who surged forward with another Naruto clone. The Cyclops swung blindly at both of them. Hinata jumped over the attack while the Naruto clone dropped down, and came back up before launching himself into a nearby tree. The tree was instantly knocked over, and out of it flew a dozen crows. One flew above the Cyclops, and back into the clone, finishing up some hand signs. Lightning Style. Sparrow Shot, the clone said, using one of Naruto's original moves. Several small lightning bird sparrows, from the looks of it, and the suggestion of the name flew quickly. They descended upon the Cyclops without mercy, bombarding him in showers of electricity just about everywhere. As he stumbled backwards with electricity coursing through his body, Hinata leapt up using a Hyuga clan technique. 8 trigrams. Double air palm, she said, thrusting her left palm, and then right palm forward. A blast of air struck the Cyclops at his left lung, followed by the right lung. Gasping, as the air was forcibly pushed out of him, he stumbled backwards even more, and right into a conveniently placed spasm that seemingly never ended. Naruto knew how to alter his land, that was for sure. Shino grinned, as he leveled up, gaining a 4th type of bug. There were the invisible mosquitoes. With a special ability to turn invisible, the mosquitoes were able to drain the blood of an animal relatively quickly. Combine that with his Kinkajou, and he became able to drain both blood and chakra simultaneously. It was a rather neat feature. He sent his new hive out for an experiment. Several hundreds of mosquitoes swarmed a rather large panther who had taken down several wolves with ease. It roared as the small bug swarmed and landed on it, sucking the panther's blood at an alarming rate, until a mere 20 seconds after the first mosquito reached the giant cat, it fell over dead from the lack of blood. Finally, as several clones mugged the Cyclops, the battle was over. All the clones cheered. The wolves howled in delight. Naruto and Shino smirked, while Hinata smiled at how well the battle went. The 3 ninjas sunk into the shadows just as they had come. A moment later, and the clearing was as empty as before the battle. The 3 Urki ninjas of Team 7 landed neatly in the shadow of a tree in Training Ground 7, silently wondering whether or not their chronically late legendary ninja had even awakened yet. Their unspoken questions were answered, as he arrived a second later in a swirl of leaves. Judging from your positions, I'd say you just arrived via shadow portal, he stated amusingly. How do you know? Shino asked their unvoiced, and yet shared question. Kakashi's mask bent where the mouth should have been into a small U shape, suggesting a smile. I trained Naruto under orders from the Hokage for 7 years. I pretty much know his abilities, how he arrives, and just about anything else about him. Sensei, you only know of the abilities I decided to show you, Naruto said with a strange glint in his eyes. Are you so sure about that? Kakashi retorted with a sparkle of his own in his visible eye. Sparks flew between them. As the fireworks show went off, Shino and Hinata sighed. Like a teacher, like a student, apparently. The staring contest ended when Kakashi withdrew his stare to speak to his team. Naruto gave a small smirk, silently congratulating himself for winning such a contest against the legendary Sharingan user. No matter how strong Naruto was, he realized that Kakashi was still by far stronger. To win any contest against this man was a great accomplishment by itself. Kai and the third Hokage were the only ones who knew what that feeling of defeating Kakashi was, and Naruto wanted to be part of that group. Alright guys, today we'll be taking your Genin test, Kakashi said. We took the test already, didn't we? Hinata asked with a cute tilt of her head to the side, eyes holding curiosity. Naruto glanced at her like that before turning his head away. Kakashi noted he wasn't blushing, but the very corners of his lips were threatening to commit mutiny and break his impassive expression. You might think you did, but you didn't. See, that test was to weed out the hopeless causes. But out of the 27 graduates, only 9 will pass. In other words, a total of 3 teams will pass. Kakashi explained, enjoying the look of horror from Hinata, startled from Shino, and the narrowed eyes from Naruto. What's the test? Shino said in his monotonous attitude. Simple. Kakashi said, drawing 2 bells from his back pouch. You 3 will attempt to get these bells from me. I hate to point out the obvious, but you only have 2 bells. Naruto stated. Oh really? Gee, I must have lost the 3rd somewhere. Kakashi said, voice laced with sarcasm to the asshole power. Obviously, the person who doesn't get the bell will be tied to a stump, forced to watch us eat our lunch, and then ultimately sent back to the academy. As he said this, he took out 3 bento boxes from seemingly nowhere, listening intently for the sounds of stomach growling. He was surprised, however, to find that not one sound was made. He produced an alarm clock from nowhere, as well before turning to them. I thought I told you not to eat breakfast, he said. Yes, let's not eat, and then face one of the best ninjas in the shinobi world on an empty stomach. Naruto said with the accompanying roll of the eyes. Breakfast is, after all, the most important meal of the day. Hinata spoke up, trying her best not to stutter. Ever since her charisma boosts, she has been trying harder than ever to suppress that stutter. She had it mostly down-packed, but it would appear every once in a while. Next step. Stop her blushing. Kakashi sighed. I guess you guys are smarter than I took you for, he said, causing them to smile a little. Anyhow, when the alarm clock goes off at 1 o'clock, the test is over, he said. And one last thing. Come at me with the intent to kill. As soon as that cursed K-word left his lips, 3 kunai almost impaled him. The genius, however, easily plucked the lead one out of the air, and deflected the other 2. A second Kakashi popped up, and held a kunai to Naruto's throat. His arm was still outstretched. I never said start, he said in a bored tone. But, you can begin now. With that said, the Naruto and the clone's grasp dispersed into smoke. Shino and Hinata leapt at him, but Kakashi performed a well-timed substitution jutsu with his clone, and knocked the 2 away with ease. Satisfied, and confident that the clone could easily take care of them, he ran off, in search of one blonde ninja. It wasn't even a full minute after Kakashi had journeyed into the surrounding forest when several shuriken whizzed towards Kakashi from through a tree branch. Leaping high into the sky off of his current branch, Kakashi managed to evade the deadly flying stars. However, his reprieve was over before it began, as 3 kunai knives, with explosive tags attached to them, came flying at him from above. Glancing up, he saw a Naruto clone smirking at him, as they got closer and closer. Not one to be outdone, Kakashi just switched with the Naruto clone, who was killed by the explosion he created. But apparently Naruto had anticipated that move, because when Kakashi arrived in the air, a water dragon was about to slam into him. Cursing, Kakashi used his chakra to make a chakra shield in front of him. The water dragon slammed into it, breaking through with almost relative ease. However, Kakashi's chakra had dulled the impact enough to take the hit without feeling pain. Instead, it just felt like someone had sprayed him with a fire hose, pushing him to the ground, but not hurting him in any way. Curses Naruto, you got my hair wet, Kakashi stated, as his gravity-defying hair succumbed to its natural enemy, having gained too much weight from the water. It fell in front of his eye, hindering his sight only by a slight amount. Naruto didn't respond with words. Instead, he drew his trusty short sword, and flew at Kakashi, aiming to decapitate the man from behind. Kakashi simply ducked, and, as the blonde genin passed over him, he kicked upward with expert timing. His foot missed Naruto's stomach, sending him flying upwards from the impact. Naruto just simply went with it. Not even bothering to reposition himself, he simply threw his blade into the air, creating hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, he exclaimed, launching a searing ball of flames at his teacher. Astonishingly, Kakashi created another thin layer of chakra, slicing through the flames with ease. Finally turning himself in a total 180, Naruto caught his flying blade, and flipped back, slicing through the air with his sword. One sword style. Chakra blade, he stated. A wave of blue chakra, taking the imprint of Naruto's blade, sliced through the air easily. It forced Kakashi to leap out of his ring of flames. The chakra caught 3 inches to the ground, according to Kakashi's estimate. Naruto used his advanced chakra control to direct himself through the air with gentle breezes. As he landed, Kakashi appeared before him. Cursing, he threw his arms in front of him, seeing a fist aimed at his face. As a result of blinding himself, he was thrown back by a fist to the stomach. Naruto flipped and springboarded off a tree, launching his feet in a drop kick at his sensei. Kakashi sidestepped and jumped away, launching 2 kunai. Naruto weaved his way through them before launching a kick at Kakashi. Kakashi deflected the kick away and ducked under a roundhouse kick before launching himself away, as Naruto's other foot swung at his face. The 2 ninja looked at each other before nodding. The mental challenge sent by Kakashi was accepted by Naruto. Take this. Demon skill. Hell flames. Naruto said. Shit. Kakashi cursed, as the white flames from the 5th circle of hell attacked him with ferocity. Haddock secret clan technique. White chakra shield. Almost instantly, white-colored chakra blasted to form a dome-like structure around Kakashi. The white flame slammed futilely at the shield before disappearing, adding to the shield. What? Naruto said, slack-jawed, as Kakashi smiled at him. Haddock secret clan technique. White chakra cannon. As soon as he finished, the still-raging white chakra formed into a beam that hit Naruto straight in the chest. Acting like a very powerful water gun, it shoved Naruto far away, through several trees, and into the lake. What the hell just happened? Naruto wondered, as he floated downward into the lake. I didn't tell you this secret because I thought that you'd never have to know about the hell flames, and every other demon skill was the ultimate weapon in the early days. Unfortunately, because of that, we foolishly went around fighting those who challenged us with these attacks. They created mass destruction, and Earth, as you know, it was almost destroyed. Kami, the god of heaven, saw what was happening on this land, and decided to grant humans 3 special abilities to combat us. She did so by creating 3 clans on Earth, perfect for fighting demons of any kind. The first group were the Senju. They were granted the power of control over us demons. How, we do not know. It is, however, suspected that because of their special wood chakra, they are able to tame us. I think that it's because it feels like nature itself is ashamed of you, and so you try to stop. The only Senju left is Tsunade of the Sannin, but she never activated her bloodline. The second group were your kin, the Uzumaki. They were granted a bloodline called chakra chains. With this bloodline, their hair would grow to impossible amounts. When the Uzumaki added chakra to their hair, it became as hard as the hardest material the earth knows. It was even strong enough to subdue and restrain us tailed beasts in our true form. You, so far as I know, are the only Uzumaki left, as your native village, Uzashigakure, was destroyed in the war. The final group, forgotten by many, were named the Haddock. The Haddock had a bloodline called White Chakra. This chakra is the pure form of Holy Chakra, made solely to counter all demonic attacks. Against an experienced Haddock who mastered his bloodline, even I would lose. The last Haddock is Kakashi, as the clan was brutally massacred during the Third War, and then Kakashi's father committed suicide. So, to reiterate, don't battle against a Haddock, Uzumaki, or Senju with demon skills. Ever. Kyuubi concluded his speech. Naruto was stunned into silence. Fuck. Shino and Hinata sighed, as the Kakashi clone got up again, for what had to be the 10th time. Honestly, they knew that it was a clone. They wanted to go help Naruto, knowing that he couldn't hold out against Kakashi for long. But the damn clone got up every time they supposedly destroyed it. Secret Aburum technique. Bug blast, Shino drawled, as he blasted the clone back into a tree, trying to drain the chakra from him. Instead, the clone flared his lightning chakra, leaving Shino's paralyzed, but not dead. The clone charged at Shino, intent on taking him out, but Hinata intercepted the attempt. The clone moved to the right to dodge his strike, before mirroring his actions in the opposite direction. He tried to flip over her, but the persistent girl followed the clone with her hand, and stroked the clone in the heart. It flew into the air, stunned enough for Shino's next move. Secret Aburum technique. Wasp's Wrath, he said, as his special hive of wasps came out to stab Kakashi's clone repetitively. The special hive had 2 main factions. One group, 90% of the whole hive, had poison-coated stingers. The other 10% had a special paralyzing venom coated on its stingers. The paralyzing wasp stung the clone repeatedly in mid-air before leaving the paralyzed clone. Only, when they flew away, it revealed a log instead. Shino cursed, and moved his head to the left, as a punch seared by, almost grazing his cheek. The flying spiders tried to wrap up the arm, but the clone disappeared, and reappeared in front of Shino. Shino tried to block, but the chakra-infused punch knocked Aburum back. Wine style. Gentle fist strike. A female voice called behind the clone, who spun to see Hinata standing in the Hyuga stance. She again tried to close in, but Kakashi's clone jumped back to dodge. To his shock, the front of his jacket was cut, though Hinata never touched him. What? He wondered out loud. Hinata smiled. The Hyuga are allowed to use their elemental affinities in using their gentle fist attacks. Now take this. Water wind style. Water palms, she said. Immediately, her speed increased so that the clone could only see after images. Once he located her, he cursed. Of course, she was right in front of him, with both palms covered in water. She thrust forward with both palms, hitting him square in the chest, and sending him tumbling along the ground. He noticed that the water had increased the power behind the palm. He also noted that the water started spreading everywhere, starting with his arms and legs, before finally drenching him. "What is this?" he asked, as he got slower and heavier. Hinata smiled again. "My original technique. By using my water chakra, I can cover my hands with water. The water will spread around the object touched, slowing them down, making them easier to catch up to, and slowly setting in hypothermia. My wind chakra allows me to move much faster," explaining the high-speed boost he saw. True to her words, he felt himself getting slower, both physically and mentally, a cause of the hypothermia. "Fire style. Firefly gathering," a voice exclaimed to his side. Not able to move or think straight, the clone could only sit there and feel, as several small, white-hot embers started gathering around him, from the feet up. At last, as it covered his whole body, the voice continued. "Explode." The monotone drawled. Instantly, all the embers exploded in a small burst of fire. The clone fell to the clone, writhing in pain, as the fire licked away at his skin, until at last, the clone finally dispersed. Shino and Hinata sighed. Those attacks took a lot out of him. The amount of chakra needed to create so many embers of fire was astonishing for someone like Shino, whose reserves were small. Hyugas typically had relatively small chakra coils, so the amount of chakra it took for her to cover her hands in wind chakra, and then to cover it in water, and move at high speeds using chakra, was draining. "We need to get to Naruto. I admit, we wouldn't be much of a help, but he's fighting at Jonin Sharingan no Kakashi, at that," Shino stated in a rather long speech. If Hinata had to be honest with herself, she could say that that was the longest she'd ever heard him speak. But that idle thought put aside, she nodded, and took off after the Abiram. Kakashi sighed, as he received his clone's memories of how the battle went. The duo were certainly more skilled than he had thought they were. Individually, they were about Chunin in strength. But working together, they proved more than a match for his clone. They figured out the purpose of this test, as well, so I suppose that I should pass them, but I can handle them. Plus, they haven't fought with Naruto yet, so I need to see how they work, as a team. He glanced up at the sun. It should be about 12:30, so I can probably assume that this will be their last stand. But Naruto's been under for nearly 10 minutes. He hasn't drowned, has he? Kakashi thought analytically. No, Naruto has a wind affinity. He's probably thinking of a plan, while preserving himself. 2 identical clones burst from the lake, followed shortly by a third. The 2 reached about 15 meters in the air, while the third reached the 20-meter mark. The first 2 looked like they floated at the peak of their jump before turning, and rocketing at him, face first. The third did a front flip before following them, only feet first instead. Kakashi jumped back, as the duo crashed face first into the dirt. It kicked up a dirt cloud, hindering his sight. The puffs of smoke that also went up didn't help. He heard the third land, but couldn't determine where. Annoyed, Kakashi made some hand seals. "Wind style. Great breakthrough," he said. "Fire style. Fireball jutsu," Naruto's voice said. As the cloud was blown away, Kakashi watched in horror, as his wind attack collided with the fireball, and came back at him. Kakashi quickly jumped back, straight into the water, thinking he was safe, as the superheated fireball passed over him. "Water style. 5 great hunting sharks," a distorted voice said. He looked behind him, as 5 water sharks swam fiercely at him, with Naruto, who had an air bubble around his head, swimming behind them. Kakashi swam away, heading towards the shoreline. The sharks swam faster, gaining on him quickly. Fortunately for him, he reached the shoreline quickly enough. He grinned, as the 5 sharks stopped, glaring at the male who was now standing back on the earth. He turned away, however, to meet a brightly smiling Hinata. "Hello." 8 trigrams. 2 palms. Her hands blurred at the who was smirking. He dodged with ease, much to her shock. 4 palms. 8 palms. 16 palms. 32 palms. 8 trigrams. 64 palms. The girl stated, getting more and more agitated, as he started dodging each and every of her attacks. He even spun around the final hard palm, and grabbed her by the collar of her Eskimo jacket, before throwing her into the recently arrived Shino. The 2 slammed into a tree until Shino dissolved into bugs. "Secret Abiram technique. Chakra train," the boy said, as a chain of bugs flew at Kakashi, who jumped away, and started running from them. He threw a kunai with an explosive node attached to it at the stream of bugs, which halted, and spread apart. The kunai traveled undisturbed by the bugs until it reached Shino, where it exploded with such force that the log was hurled into the lake. "Substitution, huh?" Kakashi asked lazily, as the 3 landed, kneeling a good 10 feet away, and panting for breath. Even Naruto was breathing slightly harder than normal, but, as always, he was the first to jump back up. "Lightning style. Electromagnetic murder," he announced, as a wave of lightning flew at the copying. "Water style. Water wall," he countered, as the water from the nearby lake swirled around him. The lightning attack clashed with the water defense, shocking the water. However, Kakashi lay unharmed in the center, as a droplet of water never touched him. "Water style. Water Dragon Jutsu, he exclaimed, as the electric-charged water swirled even further into a dragon. It was 20 feet easy, and its baleful yellow eyes stared down the three helpless genin. Shadow Style. Void Portal Absorption, Naruto said, as a portal of endless voids opened before him and his friends, swallowing the dragon whole. Naruto grinned and performed a counterattack to the move. Shadow Style. Void Portal Ejection, he stated. The water dragon, along with a huge fireball and several mud bullets, fired right back out of the portal. Kakashi gulped as each attack got closer and closer. The three grinned, and Kakashi sighed as he stood, tied to the training post. Shino and Hinata held a bell each, while Naruto stood with his tanto pointed at Kakashi's throat. How did this happen again? Kakashi asked, still a little shocked at what had happened. Naruto grinned before answering. It's rather easy. You used the substitution jutsu with that log, but didn't realize that Shino's bugs were waiting for you. They tied you to the log, we took the bells, and then we untied you, and tied you here. Kakashi sighed once more. You did good. Suddenly, however, both Kakashi and the bells disappeared in puffs of smoke. They heard his voice coming from a nearby tree. But not good enough. As he said that, the alarm went off, signifying the end of the test. How did you do it? Naruto asked, rather shocked. Kakashi's eyes smiled. You thought you caught me, but I had made a shadow clone a while back. I did a double substitution, you might say. I substituted with the log, and did so again in rapid succession with my clone. After you attacked earlier with the water dragon after the explosions, I learned that if you knew where I would substitute, then you would have an attack already set up. So, I sub-bet again with my clone, who had 2 clones into bells. He explained. Everyone's jaws dropped. Kakashi Haddock was a genius, that much was certain. So we fail? Hinata asked uncertainly. No? You pass. Kakashi said. Surprise was evident on Hinata's and Shino's faces, while Naruto narrowed his eyes in suspicion. Why did we pass? Naruto asked. The goal of the test was to retrieve the bells, but what I was testing for was to see if you all could work as a team. Without teamwork, you three are nothing. There is always going to be someone stronger than you, but with teamwork, you can defeat them. My best friend once told me right before he died. He trailed off. Everyone leaned in, as Kakashi, who had turned away from them at the beginning of his speech, looked back at them. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are worse than trash. Everyone smiled at the wise words, and the 3 genin silently vowed to heed those words to the best of their ability. Now, tomorrow we begin our first day, as Team 7. Kakashi said. The 3 genin grinned even wider, and Kakashi gave a nice smile. But Naruto is tied to the log. Why me? He asked. Because I love you. And with that, 3 of the team members ate happily, while the 4th planned several ways on how to kill his teacher. After Kakashi left, leaving the 3 alone, however, the world around them froze, and several words appeared in the air. Secret XP points unlocked. 100. Achievement. Team 7. Reward. Team Combo 1. As the 3 genin read the combo devised for them, they couldn't help but grin. Oh, they had a big weapon now. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.